heard they checking for me, no one checking on me, so I had to go run up a check. I got the message on me, ain't no flexing on me, my attorney gon' call and collect. Blessings on blessings for me, my successes only made them envious, they got upset. I had to put all their egos in check. I want the money, the power, respect, and I heard you know so-and-so, you not a threat, cause I really know so-and-so, they like my family, so they go pretend that they cool till they bust at your motherfucking chest. I'm getting gutter, my flow been like butter, my check in the bank, they see the number. All of my haters feel one of two ways, really upset or they show some respect. I can't even think about it, I've been up, so read about it, no beat around it, straight to it, no ring around it. You coming for me, we'll see about it, we'll never see it when I get my feet up. 100 meters where I run the fee up, and go for king and nine, I'm on a pia. I had to re-up on a reel, so you stay the feeder, and put it back into the bit, cause I don't really need it. I heard they checking for me, no one checking on me, so I had to go run up a check. I got the message on me, ain't no flexing on me, my attorney gon' call and collect. Blessings on blessings for me, my successes only made them envious, they got upset. I had to put all their egos in check. I had to put all their egos in check. You're not entitled to anything else. I get 10 years of this under my belt. Your art is an art, they don't feel it, and nobody hears it. Initiative stay on the shelf. Your ego done got in the way. It gotta die today. It gotta go. You should be happy I lighten the load. The weight of your arrogance, heavy as stone. I make an appearance, they already know. That chip on your shoulder gon' crumble and fold, yeah. It's not a secret that you have been fearing the shit that I'm on. So you back to the brag and the boast. But I'm in a class of my own. I heard they checking for me, no one checking on me, so I had to go run up a check.
Oh shit.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Drone Brews. Where the freak have we been? Where have we been? It has been over 1 month. I think maybe it's been more than a month since we have streamed. And Will, we're back. We are finally back. A recharged hiatus has us revving on all 8 cylinders, hoping you've had a fantastic break from live streams on Wednesday night. As much as I have enjoyed having my Wednesdays back. I understand why people hate to live stream. It's because sometimes it just absolutely sucks monkey dick. Because you want to go to Bonefish Grill on Wednesday night, but then you gotta be sober because you're gonna stream. Anyways, good to be back. Good to see all of you in the YouTube chat land. Let's just do what we always do. We'll jump in, greet the chat. We got Yellow Rose Drones, Michael Walsh, Bam Drones, Maddie's Drone World. We got Lauren, B-Man FPV, Free Range Chicken, Ariel Sean, Drone Shots, One Vision Aerials. We got B-Rad, Brad Alston from River City RVA. We got Soups FPV, Mad Props Media. Greg is in the chat. I see King in the chat. Johnny Drone Buyer is in the chat as well. I think I saw, let's see, I see Ray Kelly's there. Texas Arc Drone Guy. Lon is in the chat. And many more. If I missed somebody, I see Jonathan Jackson there too. Panda Drones 413. If I missed anybody, I am internally sorry. Tyler Gibson. So I was unsure that we were going to be streaming this evening simply because we had a hurricane that passed through here just like in the past 24 hours. And you would never know if you walked outside. It was stunning this evening. The sunset was beautiful. The skies were blue. Like just within the past, I want to say hour and a half, the weather has been absolutely stunning. And it feels much cooler outside. It's like the hurricane sucked all of the humidity straight out of my asshole and brought it to Georgia. I mean, it's gone. All of the humidity is gone with one swift motion. And I would say for the most part, very minimal damage here. Very minimal unless you live by the water. If you live by the water here, a lot of that storm surge affected a lot of people here in the county. And there's a lot of damage out there. So they're not so lucky out there. But if you were inland, you were okay. So I am thankful for all of that. And thank you for everybody who reached out, texted, messaged. I was a little stressful beforehand because I thought this thing was going to straight fuck us up. Really did. I thought my luck was running out. But we still have 9 lives apparently. All right, let's go ahead and bring in the co-host with the mo-host. I don't know. That makes no sense. I see her laughing. Tammy Jean.
The co-host with the mo-host. Thank you so much. That
You're what?
sounds.
I
It
know.
sounds complimentary. I think.
I very, very sexist. Apparently, very sexist. I did not think that through before I said it. Like I said, we don't script anything here. We never script, and apparently,
No.
I did not think that one through. Tammy, you've been traveling. I've been traveling. It's been a busy few weeks for the both of us, so we haven't been able to get on the same page. What have you been
We've
up
been
to?
on hiatus.
We've been on
Hiatus for the
hiatus. We've been
summer.
on
You
hiatus.
know.
I saw you were in Chicago. I was in Chicago a few weeks, like a week before you were there.
Yeah, I saw
What'd you think of
that.
Chicago?
Well, it ate my drones, so I don't know. Like we went out for sunrise in
Yeah.
Chicago, and I was really digging my footage. I was happy about it. We went to spot number 2, and I don't know. I just kind of got a weird compass error. I'm imagining because it started to act crazy. I
Yeah.
started to act. I don't know. I feel like I sound like a baby because
No.
I'm in the goggles and I have my controller and I just go, it's acting weird, it's acting weird, it's acting weird. And it was flying sideways
You were
and it
you were
went,
in manual mode?
no, I'm a sport mode
Okay. Okay.
girl.
I, I
But
I I asked that because I've never flown in Chicago, and when I was there, I was with a friend of mine who was acting like our tour guide. My buddy Tyler, he's like, "Yeah, I'll take you around. I'll show you all the great spots." He's like, "But," he goes, "I have to warn you, we have to be very careful in certain locations because this is like the Bermuda Triangle of GPS." And I've heard this from several people. Another friend of mine, Anthony, that flies there a lot, he's like, "You got to be careful. You have to respect the area because," he goes, "you'll just lose GPS and your drone will just be on Mr. Toad's wild ride and there's nothing you can do about it."
that's
So
exactly what happened.
I was like very, very cautious. I was super cautious because the last thing I want to do is have a drone go smashing into a building and somebody recover it. That would
Yeah,
suck.
or it land on someone. I mean, I was
Right.
glad that we were there so early. There was really no one on this sidewalk where it landed. As we were on our way over there, I saw some people just walking around it like this is a daily occurrence. It
Yeah,
was
they're
kind of funny.
probably used to a drone going down. I mean, I'm sure a lot of these big cities, and I mean, luckily enough, Chicago's drone rules, I should say, is pretty lax. I would say they really didn't care. Like they didn't care that we were flying. They didn't really care at all while we were there. I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, definitely one of the toughest places I have ever flown personally as far as signal strength goes and GPS. Like even with the Air 3, it was struggling actually in that area, which I was actually a bit shocked.
See, the first area we went to was along the river, and we were flying between the buildings, and it was
The
pretty. It
views are
was
beautiful.
fine. Yeah, it was beautiful. And then we went to the second spot, which was down lower on the river walk, and we were going to fly under the metal
Yep,
bridges.
that's the Bermuda Triangle right there.
We found it. Yeah, we
Yep.
found it. And it was, Max flew first at the first spot. So we
Uh-huh.
went to the second spot. I think he was going to smoke a cigarette, and he's like, "You go first." And I was like, "Okay." And yeah, it didn't take long for that thing to, crash and burn. And then I was like, "So you gonna fly?" He's like, "I'm not crashing my drone." So we went and found spot number 3, got out of there. It happened.
B-Man FPV is asking, since you're in retail land with drones, what's your take on what's going on with Chinese export restrictions? Have you noticed anything with DJI? I have had
Mm.
not noticed any issues with the restrictions with DJI. It's still business as usual as of now. I haven't heard anything. I wouldn't get like too hyped up on all that, to be completely honest. I mean, these things come and go. Um,
I heard, I think it was
yeah.
Mads Tech was talking about there might even be issues importing drone parts. Have you heard anything about that?
So we're still getting stuff in, and this is not stuff that's already, like, I'm still getting stuff in from China all the time. And see, the thing is, like, Like even our 3D printers and stuff, those all come from China. Like all of it comes from China. And I have
Everything comes
imports.
from China.
I have product coming DHL daily, like just all different types of things coming. So I'm not noticing any issues when it comes to imports. I mean, a lot of it's like there's a lot of like media hysteria when it comes to this type of thing. It's a very sensationalized aspect, you know,
Yeah.
when we start talking about like bands. Like DJI is smart. Like they'll put a manufacturing facility. They'll figure out ways to get product in. You know, in any successful business that's a foreign entity will always figure out how to get their product in here. Like it.
I would imagine we're a pretty big market.
Yeah, we're a pretty big market. I wouldn't say we're the biggest market for them. Obviously, Europe is their biggest market, but
Yeah.
yeah, they'll be able to get their shit in here, so it's not a big deal. But the reality is, like, let's say they did ban their imports of their drones. What the freak do you buy? What do you buy? You buy a Parrot? Like, there is no
No.
American. You can't. Okay, so if they ban DJI, well, then Autel's out the window as well, because Autel is also a Chinese manufactured drone. There is no American cinema drone. You can, I guess, buy a Sony AirPeak if you really had to have a cinema related drone. The AirPeak could work, but now you're talking about something that is twice as big, twice as large. That that's just not a feasible option. We don't have feasible options. Unfortunately, like lawmakers are fucking idiots. They're just idiots. They don't think about the industries that they affect. It's all a political yarn pull. And the problem is like America is react first, think about consequences second, and it's always been that way. We just don't fully think things through. If politicians were more like poker players and sat there and analyzed the odds of what they are doing and the outcomes of each law that they planned on passing, we'd have a lot less issues. But instead, they're all these old fucks, like 70-year-old fuckbags sitting in
Okay.
Washington, D.C. I mean, they really are. Bags of
I
wind.
agree.
I mean, Christ sakes. I mean, they need to all go.
Well, thinking
So
things through doesn't really get you elected
no,
either. You have to
no, it doesn't.
sensationalize the hot
Sensationalize. Yep.
topics,
Play to your
anti-China.
audience. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Um,
it's all the same thing. You know, China is so bad. It's so big. We don't even have an American drone manufacturer here anymore. Matter of fact, Skydio, you know Skydio, Adam over there at Skydio. So great, so great. Smart, super smart man. He's probably the smartest man in drones that I've ever met. Adam Bry, great man. So good. He couldn't make a consumer drone, though. It's absolutely terrible. But I really wish them to do big things in the future.
are
Fuck
you
you.
playing a
Well,
SpongeBob character? That
yeah,
sound like a
apparently.
SpongeBob
Yeah,
character.
so big.
Um,
Um,
Barkley said that China recently banned Tesla cars from driving on their highway and anywhere
not, sh-
near
not,
government installations.
not shocking though, considering their the tech. But I mean, we're playing that same game too. Like we're
Yeah,
banning DJI drones from flying, so it's like we play the same games. I mean, each country is playing the same game back and forth, and then we're pointing the finger back at one another, saying, "Ah, you did this." And it's like if we just all did we didn't do that shit. We just didn't. You know what I mean? Like it would probably be okay. But again, that's logic for you, which there's no logic in anything. There's no freaking logic to all of it. But I until stock depletes for DJI products, I don't think there's anything to really get concerned about. But if you look at like just FPV for an example, just about every FPV component that you buy, from ESC to motor to VTX to whatever, is produced, made, manufactured, probably even designed in China, right?
yeah.
So if you take the China production out, what do you have? You have nothing. Now you're going to have to push production and marketing. Like companies like DJI are going to have to set up shop in like, Taiwan or Singapore or somewhere else that, creates a different, method of transport. So again, these these products can always be brought in through other various means. Like they can be distributed to Europe to be brought into the States.
Right.
So,
Right.
but again, the import fees are different for doing that. So again, that cost is going to end up being passed upon to the consumer eventually. It's very
Yeah.
stupid. We're in a very dangerous time. Whether you're a hobbyist, you're somebody who does this commercially, this is a very dangerous time, or a frustrating time even at that, to be a consumer in this world.
Yeah. Well,
Sadly.
B-Man said it's actually high performance drone part exports, and it's as of September 1st. So he is worried about the FPV parts, not so much the DJI in that.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to really say what's going to happen. I wouldn't hit the panic button. Like, listen, like our government does stupid shit, and then in the flip of a flip of a coin, like whoever is the highest bidder can get anybody to change their minds. So we've had restrictions on or Chinese related products for a while. I'll have to dig deeper, but I just wouldn't stress out too much about it. Like, there's no point in stressing because there's nothing you can do. So worrying about it or freaking out about it's not going to change the outcome. The only thing I can say is just, come the next election, really dig deep and look at who we're putting in office,
It just sucks that drones have even come up with politicians. Like, I wish they would go back to worrying about like COVID and stuff.
Once upon a time, it was never like that. It was only like that
Yeah.
now since the lobbyist aspect of things. Again, I point fingers at Skydio because they've done an absolute detriment to the market. Not only just pulling out from the consumer industry, but also lobbying against a competitor, and then a competitor that they had no intention on competing with in the same market. So they've left countless thousands of hobbyists stranded, like basically saying, hey, we're not going to create any new product. You can't buy a new product. You can't buy a new Skydio drone. Oh, by the way, and eventually we're going to sunset that project to where it doesn't even matter. Like, honestly, I hope that God I see them at commercial UAV, because this is like God's honest truth. If I see them, I'm just going to be like, fuck you from the bottom
Can
of
you
my heart.
film
And
it?
from fuck you. What's that?
Film it.
Oh,
Film
I
that.
have a camera with me at all times, but I will
Yeah.
tell them to go fuck off. Like, I'm
Everyone
tired of
wants
being
to see
polite.
it.
You got to stop being polite with these people. You got to stop being polite with these schmuck bags that create these products. Like, it's time that consumers start standing up for the things that they pay for, and that companies demand this money. Like, they put all this money into marketing dollars, and they trick you and they persuade you, and they use influencers to navigate your buying and purchasing decisions. And then when they get what they want, they get enough of information, they pull out. I mean, it's sick. It's sick. It's stupid. And as hobbyists, as consumers, we need to do better to navigate that and start pushing back on these companies that leverage us for what they want. And ultimately, Skydio just wanted more prowess. What they needed was capital. They needed VC funding, right? Venture capitalists were eyeing at Skydio. They were seeing the hype around their technology, their autonomous flight technology, their software, and they needed that funding. Well, how do you get funding? How do you create hype? Hype doesn't come from commercial. Commercial industry is very niche, even though it's a big company, it's a big space. And it produces a lot of revenue because companies will cut large checks. But hype comes from consumer interest. That's where hype comes from. Consumers create the hype. You're not going to be like, see a bunch of linemen, like some linemen being like, yeah, I can't wait for this new drone. It's going to make my life so much easier and safer. They're not going to be like, no, that comes from consumers. Consumers creates the hype, creates the interest. Hence, where venture capitalists see this and they're like, oh, wow, there's a real opportunity here for us to double our investments if we invest in them now. That's where that happens. And this happens across all the boards, across everything. We've seen this, and it sucks. All right, speaking about hype, let's talk about the Air 3, because so many people want to know, what do we think of this drone after having it for just about 2 months' time now? Tammy, have you gotten a chance to fly one, see one yet?
No, I have not. I'm interested though.
So 2 months in, I will say I got a couple of things wrong with the Air 3. I think I got a
Oh yeah.
couple. I think I got a couple of things wrong from my initial few reviews. I was contemplating fully retiring my Mavic 3.
Yeah.
I
I
was,
saw that video.
but there are some things where I do feel like the Mavic 3 definitely like way leads the class past the Air 3. And where that is in photos. So in photos, I really do
Mm.
feel that it's hard to beat the Mavic 3 when it comes to photos. Those 20 megapixel let me rephrase that. Those 20 megapixel 4/3 images look stunning. A lot
Mm.
far superior than the Air 3's 12 megapixel and even better than the 48 megapixel. The problem with the 48 megapixel is there's some upsizing happening, and that upsizing tends to create some unwanted artifacts in the images that don't look as desirable. So I think my biggest mistake was, I probably for just like for real estate stuff, the 12 megapixels fine. But if I'm doing anything for Instagram or like myself, like these photos are all Mavic 3 photos. So I would think that the Mavic 3 still punches well above its weight class there. But for everything else, I think the Air 3 does a good job. It's been very rock solid in a lot of regards. And I still use it for a lot of jobs, but I still love the photos coming out of the Mavic 3. I really do.
Yeah. Now, I know you said something interesting in one of your videos that, your clients wouldn't be able to tell the difference. And so
They wouldn't.
sometimes with these things, like I do feel like we're talking to ourselves a little bit.
We do. Yep. And this is a battle that I have a lot when I'm dealing with clients because I have my expectations of what I expect a product to do. And I find myself doing this like with videos, like things that like probably a client would never notice, like these little details that they would never notice, but I see it and it bothers me. And I'll spend like way more time than I need to trying to like eradicate an issue, whether it be a little shake or maybe I notice like a very slimmer of a glimpse of myself in a mirror or something, and something that chances are a client's never going to slow down enough to look at it. And I'll sit there and focus on those things. And photos is a prime example. A lot of times they get the drone photos and they're not like pixel peeping. They're not like zooming in and looking to see what they can see. They're just looking at the overall image.
And they're amazed.
They're amazed. The colors are good. They're happy. They're fine with that. And they don't say anything else. So I think a lot of times we're our own worst enemy when we're using a product because we have such ridiculously high expectations. Yeah. Yeah, it's just the thing.
Well, I know too, you were saying it was just sort of quieter and easier, maybe to just throw it up quick, didn't cause a big commotion with the neighbors.
Yeah.
So which one are you really going to bring on your jobs?
If I'm afraid it's going to create a commotion, I'll bring the Air 3. I think that the Air 3 is just subtly quieter. It's quieter in a degree that, let's say, the pitch of it is lower. It doesn't have that high pitch frequency as to where I think the Air 3 has the Mavic 3 has a higher pitch frequency. The Air 3 has a lower decibel. I mean, they're so close, like realistically, like they're so close, right? Like there's not, like most people probably wouldn't tell. Just in my ears, I hear that it is lower. And for me, it's also a little bit smaller, so it gets out of the way a little quicker. And that 3x lens is really good. Like I really think the 3x lens on the Air 3 is good. Like it's excellent. It's the same as what's on the Mavic 3 Pro's 3x. So why wouldn't you just use it in that instance? So if I'm just doing real estate, but if I need something more resolution, then I'm gonna have to use the Mavic 3 Pro. It's a catch-22 because when you have a lot of when you have a lot of equipment, I float around to different products. Like I do the same thing with cameras. Like I have 4 different cameras, and maybe one day I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna film on this camera, even though I have like an FX3. I'll still film on this because I want to see what it can do, and I find myself doing that. So I think a lot of times when people watch reviewers' videos like myself or or any one of us that have a lot of drones, if the influencer is actually doing this where they make money, like where they make money from flying, like it makes a difference, like to my livelihood, then I think you should listen to what they say. But if they're just reviewing shit because they just review shit, they're not actually doing this. Like if I stop going out flying and doing real estate, my bills don't get paid. Like my bills don't get paid. So I'm actually using this equipment. But to the influencers that are sitting here, they're just fucking professional box readers. They're just reading a box and reading you the specs. Like
yeah.
they're going to tell you whatever it needs for you to click their affiliate link. I don't give a shit. I want you to buy whatever is going to be best for the job based upon my real world experience in having used that. I'm not a professional box reader. I am literally telling you what I feel works best for the job that you're could be doing. I don't want to see you waste your money because I know how bad that hurts to waste your money on a product that may not be able to complete the job that you hope it could do. That's definitely the difference. So,
all right.
Yeah.
So do you think that people should upgrade from the Air 2S?
So when it comes to the Air 2S, yes. And I say this solely because of the battery situation. And people are like, well, you're not maintaining your batteries. Bullshit. Bull fucking shit. I do maintain those batteries, and those batteries, like, it doesn't matter what you do, whether it be heat related, whether it just be wear related. Air 2S, Air 2 batteries have notoriously have had issues swelling. And again, if you fly a product and you charge batteries daily, and you're using this daily, you're going to have wear, and those batteries will eventually start swelling. And when they swell, and let's say it happens while it's in the drone, you don't know it's happening, and it's pushing it out and it's declipping. I have a good friend of mine that literally he maintains his things meticulously. He's a real estate photographer as well. He was flying his Air 2S and literally had the battery push out mid-flight. And luckily enough, he wasn't over anybody's house or anything. It fell in a lady's yard. And he was looking for it. And the lady said, hey, did your drone just fall out of the air? And he goes, I think it did. And she goes, oh, it's over here. And when he walked up to it, he found that the battery was swelling. It was out of the drone. It was like a foot or two away from the drone. But yeah, it just goes to show you, like, you don't want to. I would get rid of the Air 2S just because of that. Just because of that. It's just a safety issue. Eventually, it's going to be a safety issue. I wouldn't use it because of that.
Yeah, and you said that the Air 3 has long battery life.
Yeah,
right?
Like we're at 40 minutes. I mean, 40? I'm getting damn near 40 plus out of it. I mean, I did a job the other day and I had 2 batteries that were not fully charged. They were like halfway, and I was able to get all the shots that I needed with the batteries that I had. And I'm like, man, that's really good to like be able to run two houses back to back and get video and everything and really push it with 2 half batteries. And that was fine. Like, I think it's the battery life. It's the battery life king right now.
That's
and
nice.
I think a lot of people would be very, very happy with that. For sure.
Do you know if there'll be any goggle compatibility?
I don't know. I don't know, because we still don't have compatibility with the RC Pro, and I think that's pissed a lot of people off. That's left a bad taste in people's mouth. That we have this super expensive RC Pro. People want to use that. I would like to believe that there would be cross compatibility. But I've heard from several people and several individuals at DJI that they are not compatible with one another because there are truly differences between OcuSync 4 and OcuSync 3. Me personally, I don't believe that it's too much of a difference. I think that it's merely a different chipset, because OcuSync 3 to 2 had no problem communicating back and forth between the Mavic 3 Pro, and the Air 2S. With the RC Pro, but now all of a sudden we have a situation where OcuSync 3 and 3 Plus can't communicate on the RC2 with OcuSync 4. So I'm thinking that OcuSync 4 just merely means we have a new chipset, we have a new radio frequency, and hence the reason why they cannot communicate. I could be wrong, But range wise, yes, it is impressive range, but like when you're in an urban environment, you get similar results. So to me, that just indicates that maybe they had a hardware change, and that hardware change is incompatible with previous generation drones. Again, anything is possible. Eventually, we could see support for the RC Pro, but as of right now, they haven't given us any indication that we would see that. But my thought is we have a different chipset, different hardware, won't communicate with the old hardware. Just the hunch. We would need somebody to, open it up and figure that out, of course.
Check it out. Yeah. Hey, Carolina Aerial Visuals wants to know if you stopped using your Avata.
No,
Speaking of high pitched drones.
I still use my Advata. I need to have a purpose to use it. So one of the things that has happened recently, and we were talking about this before the stream, is I've just been so overwhelmed with work, like running Apex and doing real estate work, that I just haven't had a lot of time for fun. However, I do have a listing coming up where the agent has told me, hey, I want to do an FPV fly through, not the whole house. What they want to do is use FPV shots to sort of enhance the video. So we're going to be using the Avata and the Action 4 for some of these hybrid style clips. So I will be using the Avata for that. But when I do use the Avata, I typically do fly the Franken Avata, like my converted Axis Avata, because it just flies so amazing. And I've been super happy with the way that's performing. But I do still use the Avata. I use it a lot, actually.
Nice.
So, but yeah. So eventually we'll do some more Avata videos. It's tough, when you're trying to figure out where you have time, and then the weather is just shit here in Florida. I don't have to tell anybody who lives here knows how it could flip on a dime. Since apparently don't fly to where my battery's out, I still have the Air 2S original 2 years later. If that weren't an issue, still upgrade to the Air 3. I think image wise, the Air 3 is a little bit cleaner in my opinion, even though it has a 1-inch sensor on the Air 2S. Again, I don't think the size of the sensor is the whole story. I think the refinements and the modern nature of the new sensor that's in the Air 3 makes it a better performer. You still don't have an adjustable aperture on the Air 2S, so ND filters should have always been a must anyways. So I would say yes, if you want to have better color, a better image, the Air 2S is a better option if you also want to utilize the 3x lens, which is fantastic.
But I think a lot of people are wondering if it's worth getting a new drone. Like, is it really worth upgrading to the Air 3? Is it that big of a difference?
I think it is, especially from the Air 2S. I think it is. Like just the overall performance of it, it's better. And again, just in terms of a safety perspective with these older drones, that's always a concern to me. The Air 2S is an aging animal. It's over 2 years old now. Drones, sadly, anything that flies like that, they age like a dog sometimes, when you cannot replace the parts, they age like a dog. So that is something that is always going through the back of my mind. And, as a remote pilot, you have to think about those things, because the last thing you want to have happen is have an accident in which you could have prevented just because you're flying something that could have the potential of downing itself, i.e. the Air 2S. That's my thought process overall. And a lot of people may not agree with that, but I have a different perspective from my experience, and people may have a different experience than me when it comes to the Air 2S.
Yeah, well, I know a lot of people love it. Like, I was interested in the Air 2S for a while just because everyone goes crazy about that drone, loves that drone. Like, even on Marketplace, you couldn't even find one for cheap because people just love that drone, and everyone seemed to want it. So
yeah, it's still a fantastic drone. I mean, if that's what you have and you don't have the means to upgrade, yeah, keep it by all means. I mean, don't get rid of it if you're happy with it. So I mean, once again, it's whatever works best for an individual. I would always implore anybody to just do whatever they think is best for them financially and, what have you.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
that's
would we even all be upgrading so much if we weren't part of the drone community here and
probably not.
hearing
I
about
mean,
all
we're
these new
all, I
releases?
mean, I mean, come on. Bottom line is we're drone sluts. Okay. We got to have it all. We're like, got to catch them all. Um, I, I don't like to upgrade a lot. Now, if drones were a lot like phones, I bet you people wouldn't have to upgrade. Like I will not upgrade my iPhone because I don't want to set it back up again. Like that's
Yeah.
like a convenience thing. So if a drone was like an iPhone where you had to set it up and dial it in just exactly how you like it, I bet you people wouldn't upgrade so frequently because it would be cumbersome. It would almost be an inconvenience. But I think a lot of people get caught up in this. They have to have the newest. There's like this
I
fear of,
think so.
fear of missing out on something, and I always see the comments on videos like, about that. And the reality is like people forget, like I review drones professionally. I have a drone channel where we review things. So I am going to change and we are going to flip flop because we're reviewing something from a professional purposes or for the channel, answering questions that people that are curious about this product would want to know. So we are going to flip flop and there's going to be a lot of things. And, when we create a video, we create a video for it to be viewed. Nobody creates a video for it not to be seen. So we're going to do all the YouTubery things. I'm going to stick my finger in my butthole, make the crazy thumbnails, and do all the things necessary to make sure a video is successful. I mean, that's just number one. That's just good YouTubing, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, of course. No, I just
So
mean for everyone else who doesn't
yeah,
have a YouTube channel
yeah,
reviewing
no,
drones.
nobody would upgrade. I don't think if they bought a drone, they were fine. If they didn't know the YouTube community exists, it's funny when you meet somebody that's on the outliers of it. They're not really in this space, and
Yeah.
they're like they have like the Mavic Pro Platinum or whatever. You know what I mean? And they're like, this is the best thing ever because that's what they know and that's what they're happy.
Yeah.
And I want to say, stay in that little bubble, feel that good forever because don't don't come over here because it's like a drug. You don't need this. You don't need this.
Yeah. As soon as you see what's going on over here, you want in.
You want in, but then you almost regret it. Your wallet almost regrets it instantly, which is a downside. It's definitely a downside. So a question is, are you throwing away the drones you fly with the RC Pro? If not, you can still use them. It sucks, but the Air 3 comes with a remote. I don't know who's answering that, but okay. Let's see. I'm trying to get caught up on the chat. Read this.
Yeah. Someone was saying that they still use their Phantom 4 Pro version 2 for pictures. And
yeah, I saw that.
I hear a lot about that drone too. That's been around for a long time.
I'm really excited though for the new triple tech device.
Oh, is that what you had blurred out in one of your videos?
I can't. Once again, I can't show it, but I will say that it's behind my iPhone.
Oh.
I could just it's behind the iPhone. But it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. People are going to want it. People are going to want this. This is one device that normally I would say, well, people would say, well, I have a phone. Why can't I just use my phone? Yeah, your phone can't compete. Your phone can't compete. That's all I'll say. There's not a phone on planet Earth that will be as bright ever.
Ooh.
And that's a fact. So I
brighter
really can't
than
wait.
The RC Pro.
Yes, it is. It is way brighter than RC Pro. Sustainably and sustainably too. Sustainably brighter, and it could do it for a longer duration. Think about that. That is pretty impressive.
When is this video coming out?
I think I don't want to put my foot in my mouth, but probably mid-September, early October.
Ooh.
We're still in planning process. But again, see what's happening right now? See what's happening? This is hype. Tammy.
This is hype.
This is how
we're
hype
already
starts.
talking about
This
it.
is how hype starts, Tammy. So
We're
learning.
From influencers.
From influencers. That's how hype starts. So I turned my head for a sec. What is the brightest ever? What is the brightest ever? I think right now the peak brightness of tablets that we're using now is 1200 nits right now. That's the Triple Tech 9 Pro. It can sustain 1200 nits. So this device, this littler device, is actually brighter than that. So I won't give you exact numbers, but it is brighter than that. So if you need max brightness, then you're going to definitely want to save your money before then.
Okay.
So there's that.
We'll hold out for that.
A lot of people seems like, if you guys need drone therapy, I think they meet on Tuesday nights over at Bill Thomas's channel. So I see a lot of people like, we need to go more. Well, you may need to go to Bill Thomas's channel then. Drone on the Bayou, thinking about the Mavic 3T for thermal to use for feral hog eradication. What are your thoughts? Ooh. That is actually like, a lot of times when people ask me about thermals, they're not specific enough. They want a thermal, but they really don't know how they're going to use it. For this instance, what you're asking here, I would say that is perfect because the Mavic 3T is super easy to deploy. Like, you're going to be able to deploy that fast. So if you're trying to find these feral hogs, you can get it up in the air and get it up in the air quick when you suspect that there's one in the vicinity. So I would say, yes, the 3T is a brilliant way to go. One, they're pretty quiet. Two, they just function incredibly well. I was super impressed with that aircraft in my short time that I had with it. I thought that it was probably one of the best thermal drones that were easy to deploy. So yes, 100%, I would say the 3T is awesome to use.
That sounds like a really interesting video.
That would be, I would love to tag
Drone on the Bayou.
I would love to tag along for that just to see how like that, you know?
I want to see it.
That sounds pretty cool. That sounds pretty cool. M30T. Yeah, M30T, a little bit more money, but that is also another one. Arctic TE, what are the best filter brands for the Air 3? You know, honestly, I think ND filters are pretty much ND filters now. I use a mixture from Polar Pro. Like right now I'm using Polar Pro ND filters on my Mavic 3. I've been very happy with my Mavic 3 ND filters from Polar Pro. Not sponsored. I actually paid for those myself. Freewell sends a lot of filters out. I actually have a couple of kits of ND filters for the Air 3 I haven't even gotten a chance to use. Maybe I'll take them with me. I'm going to be in Vegas on Tuesday, so maybe I'll take them out there to Vegas and do some testing with those. I always like to travel when I'm reviewing ND filters, so I don't do the same thing over and over. But I think ND filters or ND filters, really it boils down to what's available. For the Air 3, I use the stock DJI ND filters for the most part. But really any ND filter that you can purchase is going to be good. As long as you don't go with the super cheap brands like the newer ND filters or some like other super, super cheap brand. Like if they're sub $50 filters, it may be plastic, like plastic glass in there. It's not even glass. It's plexiglass or whatever. Anyways, you want to stay away from those because they may give you a lesser image quality.
Someone's asking if you have any thoughts on the Mini 4.
Mini 4. I haven't even given it any thoughts. I haven't even really followed up with it. I've been seeing this leak a lot, actually.
I was gonna say I've been seeing leaks.
It honestly looks a lot like the Mini 3, to be completely honest. It doesn't look very much different than the Mini 3. I mean, the Mini 3 was a cool drone, but now that the Air 3 is out and it's like, does it really matter? Me being 107 and flying and posting on YouTube where things are monetized, for me, it doesn't really matter about a weight of a drone because you still can't fly it over people because it doesn't meet that classification without the prop guards, et cetera, et cetera. So it doesn't really matter. So I'm still going to choose a heavier drone. I don't know. I mean, what feature would you want the Mini 3 to have, Tammy, that would make it worthy of purchasing? What would you want to see?
Well, I've said it before. For me, I want things to be compatible with goggles. I really don't like looking at a pad, although
Okay.
we'll see what comes out in October. But for the most part, yeah, I want things that are compatible with goggles. I love
Do you find
flying
it
with
easier to fly
goggles.
GPS drones with the goggles though? I've never found it easier. Do you find it easier to fly or like more comforting?
I I like seeing it that well. I feel like it's easier to frame up a picture. I don't
Okay.
like looking at a pad. I don't know. And
No,
then
this makes
just I
sense.
and then I feel like I've flown some areas with my GPS drone looking at an iPad where I have flown like under a bridge and up a waterfall. And I feel like I've kind of got my fingers crossed a little bit.
Okay.
Whereas
So
if
it's
I
like a
had
more
goggles
immersive.
on, yeah, if I had goggles on, I would know for sure that I am definitely
Oh,
under
I
the
see what you're saying. I
bridge
know what you're
on
saying.
the straight path, no
You know,
adjustment needed. I don't know. I like it better.
I only got that way after I started flying FPV. Like when you were in the goggles, you are like, you have this crazy confidence. And when I first started flying and going to Philadelphia, there was these bridges and Billy would go bombing, like just bomb underneath the bridges with the Phantom 4 Pro. And I'm like, I want to do that, but I don't want to lose my Evo. And I wouldn't do it because like perception wise, I never trusted that what I was seeing was where I was at altitude wise. And it was only till I started flying FPV, I gained that confidence in trusting what the camera was seeing. But I guess I could see that. I can see how being in the goggles would boast your confidence though.
Yeah, and you can see hesitation in the video. You can see all those little adjustments in the
Yeah.
video. I feel like it's a definitely a much more confident flight for me when I have goggles on, and I know for a fact that I'm on the right path.
Yeah, that so I want to let's see. Let's see how many people feel the same way. Goggles when flying a GPS drone. So I'm going to
I
put a
just want
poll.
for any
We'll put a
drone. I
poll.
want all drones to work with goggles now.
So let's see. Let's see. We'll start a poll. It's a yes or no poll. Yes or no. We'll see. We'll see how many people want to fly a GPS drone with goggles. Wow. Okay. So 67% are saying no so far. 40. Well, that's it. Even and out. Oh, this is a race, man.
I
It's
just hit
like
yes.
it's. Did you just say yes?
Yes.
So we have 54% are saying no so far. 46 are saying yes, but it's so close. It's 50-50 right now.
I
Um
feel
oh,
like
it
in
is
the
50-50.
I feel like in the GPS community, a lot of people have been trying FPV since the
Yeah.
Avata
Yeah.
and loving it. And a lot of people haven't tried it yet, so I feel like they would say no.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if the people saying yes have tried goggles, for an
What
Avata, for the FPV drone,
and
for
it
something.
depends. It depends on if they have glasses, it depends on if they get vertigo. I know when I first put on a set of goggles, it was the DJI goggles, like the big goggles that connected to the Phantom 4
Oh,
Pro. And
yeah.
I got very, very nauseous very quickly. I wasn't used to it. And I was like, this is not for me. And I was like, I got to get out of this. This is not for me. So I know it's going to be like a very split audience request. But I would say so far, with 51 votes, 51% are saying no, 49% are saying yes, they want it. So that is a very interesting split to say the least.
Yeah. And I feel like the ones who are, I think at least, I don't know, I'm not going to make up facts and figures, but I think that some of the people who are saying no are either just not comfortable with goggles or
Yeah.
have never tried them. I was nervous about them the first time I tried them. I felt like I didn't know how high off the ground I was. I just felt a little like I didn't trust them. I kept taking them
Yeah.
off and looking.
Yeah.
Once I got comfortable with goggles, that's my preferred
That's
way.
interesting. And there's a lot of people that prefer goggle flight. I know for a long time, Ken Herron was really big on wearing goggles. Like he wore his Fat Shark Dominators while flying his Phantom for the longest time because that's how he felt confident with what he was doing. And it all breaks down to how you feel confident in getting a shot. Me personally, like I like looking through my RC Pro. I feel good about that because when I'm flying a GPS drone, I need to have like that spatial awareness and be able to look around and see things and, keep an eye on it. And then when I'm flying FPV, I'm moving in a much more distinct forward motion always. And I feel like I am in that driver's seat of that FPV drone. And it's a different sensation than the FPV or a GPS drone. Because the GPS drone, if you bank left or right, like there's a delay in that gimbal because it's sort of softened. So you're not really seeing the full movement of it. So I don't feel like it's a 1-to-1 ratio like it is on FPV. FPV, I feel very locked in. I feel, like I'm in the, the cockpit of an airplane essentially. And I trust it more with goggles, but now the chat is evening out at 53% are saying they would fly a GPS drone. So, and then there's also the other aspect of things where, it's the legal thing. Like now, if I'm flying a GPS drone with goggles, I have to have a spotter. So it's like,
it's so silly.
it is silly. It's so stupid. But it's like, it's just another factor that you have to add, another multiplier that you have to add to a flight that could already be complex enough. So yeah, it's a weird thing. So that's on 67 votes. Now we're at 54% versus 46% that say no. I'm going to say I'm in the no for GPS with goggles. But, again, I was also against the motion wanker. But there's that.
You're into the wanker now?
No, I'm not into the wanker. I don't wank at all. I don't know. I just created a soundbite for Chris from Sunrise Water Media. Thank you, Chris. So he'll go back. He'll go back through the stream and just make that into a soundbite. No, I haven't used that at all. Like I cannot get with the motion controller whatsoever. Like that I know they wanted it to be such a thing, but I just can't.
I'm against it.
Yeah. Good for you.
Well, when I first started flying drones, I felt like I wanted to get so used to the controls that I didn't have to think about it anymore. Like typing. When you first start typing, you're like looking, and eventually you're so used to it, your fingers just fly and you're not thinking about it anymore. That's what I wanted with the controller. So I had no interest in learning a different way to control the drone.
Yeah.
I just have no use for that.
I had to get very proficient with typing because I had an office job, and you would have to, like, periodically they want to see how many words per minute you could type.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time they did that, I was just randomly tapping the keyboard like, bah! And they're like, no, you actually have to make sense. It's just not how fast you can hit each key. I was like, right. Because I was a mechanic, and then I came into this world. So I'm like, so stupid.
Some people can do that very fast.
That was literally faking it till I made it. That whole job. I knew nothing about what I was doing, but I knew how to bullshit my way to somewhere.
It's an important skill.
It's an important skill. It's a very important skill. I recommend it to anybody. I'm trying to see. I think I see Pilot Institute is in the chat. It says goggles for FPV, GPS drones are a different feel. 100%. I would want to hope that that's Don behind that little pink logo right there, because that just seems like such a Don statement. Could be. Maybe. I'm thinking maybe if I'm like vibing with who's typing that, I'm thinking it's Don. Or maybe they're all sitting there. They're watching. Because they do that. They're just that much of a team. They would sit there and watch the show. Love you guys. There's all these micro conversations happening in the chat as this shows. That's always the most interesting thing about live streams is like these little, there's a stream within a stream within a stream. Nope, it's not Don. So, okay, fine. Well, it's either Jason or Gregory, which I get to see my guys next week. It's going to be fun times.
Vegas?
Fun times in Las Vegas. Commercial UAV 2023. I'm stoked. It's going to be it'll be a good show. Hopefully a lot of people are going to be out there. It'll be fun. I haven't been in Vegas since the last time I was in Vegas, Tammy.
No
I
way.
know. That was April. It's been too long.
Crazy.
I know.
Crazy.
Vegas is nice. Like when you go, like Vegas is great when you get off the plane, when you first check into your hotel. After that, it goes sideways very quickly at these commercial UAV events. It goes so fast. Let's see that Mini 4, Mad Props Media said. You know, yeah. Oh, funny guy. If it weren't for the chat, I'd run out of things to talk about in 25 minutes. This is true too, but you can always talk to yourself. Big Shot Media says, I'll be in Vegas. I think you live in Vegas though. Fly Ride says, Dobo, should I return my Mavic 3 Class and get a Mavic 3 Pro? I feel like I'm missing out on the zoom function. You know, here's my thought on that. Yes, because I really love that 3x lens. And I didn't know I needed a 3x lens until I got the 3x lens and I was getting all these fun and creative shots. And I would go back and you would just get like this nice depth of field parallax shot, which you can never get with the drone before until that 70mm lens. And now I'm like, yep, I'm not going to fly a drone if I don't have that, because it just gives me one more piece of ammunition when I'm flying and creating content for whether it be real estate, for YouTube, gives me perspectives. I always tell people the most important thing you can purchase when creating content is a lens. If you already have a camera, you need to buy more lenses, because if you have lenses, you can change the focus, you can change the focal lengths, you can change the emotion and the dynamic of your video so much faster with a lens. You cannot do that with a camera. So yes, I would say I would absolutely snag anything with a 3x. Blue Planet Drone says the Air 3 has the 3x lens for much cheaper. This is true, but he may have purchased the Classic because he wants that 4/3 sensor, better photos. The color is definitely slightly better on that main lens, the 4/3 lens. The color is definitely better. So, I mean, that is an option. So, I don't know. I would say no matter what you buy, you're going to be happy with it. At the end of the day, here's the thing. At the end of the day, if you know how to leverage your gear, it doesn't matter what gear you have. If you know how to edit, if you know how to frame up a shot, you know how to you shoot to edit, you can make magic with anything. With anything, you can make magic if you understand how to leverage the gear. Those that buy a camera, a lens, the best gear, and don't know how to use it cannot create something the same as somebody that understands how to leverage their gear. So I would always emphasize to learn the gear that you have so you can get the most out of it. That's the best advice I could give anybody.
I absolutely agree. I'm learning different moves to make. You know, it's not always zoom up to 400 feet or 399 and look around left and right. You know, there are so many more things that you could be doing with a drone to give different perspectives.
Exactly.
And a more diverse views. And you know, with any drone.
Yeah, with any drone, you know, Tyler goes, making magic with my Tello, except for the Tello and except for a Skydio, because the Skydio pilots itself, so you can't make magic with that. You can make money with it, but you can't make magic.
Will you be wearing a GoPro on a chesty as you walk around Vegas, just in case you get to
that confrontation?
Yeah.
Well, I know who we will not be seeing in Las Vegas. Do you know who we're not going to see in Las Vegas this year? Because he did a poll. He said people were asking if he was going to participate in commercial UAV, and he's decided that he's not. He's not going to participate. He doesn't want to support commercial UAV. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
Mr. Paul from Drone U. He's not going to be at commercial UAV. I'm deeply disappointed. I'm saddened. I'm absolutely saddened. I look forward to walking around and trying to walk past him as many times as I possibly can to make him feel as absolutely uncomfortable as he can. But I don't have to worry about that this year. Paul is not going to be at commercial UAV because, like, once again, I say he ran a poll and all 2 people from his 50,000 follower fan base told him that they don't want him to go to commercial UAV, so he's not going.
Wow.
Sad, very sad, disappointing.
That's sad.
I was looking forward to seeing him. Exactly. Roseanne said, "Who? Who?" Exactly. So there's that. Freaking Paul, little minion. So what are we at here? We're at 10 p.m. on the dot.
Wow.
Come on. You know how much you love Paul. Last time I'm checked, I'm still blocked. Let me look. Let me see. I think I'm still blocked. I can't wait until Elon removes the blocking function, and then they can't the drone you. Let me see. Am I still blocked? So I'm still blocked from drone you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Look at that.
They still blocked
Drone
me.
you blocked you.
You know, and it wasn't even like I was being my typical self. I was actually just trying to have a conversation, but eventually that's going to go away. He's not going to be, I won't be able to slide into his DMs, but I will be inevitable. He will not be able to hide from me eventually when they remove the feature to block people. You can mute them, but you can't block them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's coming,
That's gonna be coming. I cannot wait. I can't wait. I'm gonna be the biggest, most passive troll alive. I'm gonna be nice. I will use my powers for good. What the hell is a drone you? Exactly. We are all still trying to figure that out. Blue Planet drone. We're still trying to figure that out for a long time. Flyride said, "You dealing with this hurricane?" I'm in Gordon, Georgia. I will tell you that from last night till about 5 a.m, it was pretty hairy. The winds were pretty bad. It was lots and lots of rain. I woke up this morning. It was still pretty windy till about like 10, 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock came and went. Rains tapered. Winds were sort of stopping. By 2 o'clock, we saw little bits of blue sky appearing. I was like, "Oh, okay, this is good." By about 5 o'clock, blue sky, sunny, gorgeous weather, nice, cool, and it's been beautiful ever since. So, pretty good stuff, man. Pretty good stuff.
And you never lost power or anything like that?
No, we did last night. Internet blipped. A matter of fact, I had to come in here, reset all the stuff because every time the power goes out and it blips, it's a shit show with the internet. So we did for a little bit. It wasn't enough for us to notice any like real discomfort, which was good. We got very, very lucky with the storm, I would say, because for a while it looked like it was going to make landfall like directly where we were. And if it would have did that, I think that today would have been a very different show. There wouldn't have been a show. So I'm thankful that it did not make landfall here. I mean, no matter who got it, it was not going to be a good situation at a Category 4. So there's definitely no incomprehensible damage wherever it did make landfall. So, but I'm just glad that, you know, it's good. The drone footage from Hernando Beach, though, Hernando Beach got very, very much the brunt of the damage. Lots of flooding from the storm surge. There was a house that caught fire because they didn't turn the power off in time out there by the water. House caught fire. Yeah, so that was a shit show. I have a lot of friends out there in the beach, and I think they're mostly okay because they're all like, they're pros. They like know how to prep, and they know how to make sure they can protect themselves against flooding. But there was a lot of people, they didn't do enough prep in time, and I think those houses probably suffered the worst of it. So very unfortunate, but you know, that's what happens. So getting caught up on the chat here. Everything else looks good. So I think that's about it, Miss Tammy Jean.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think that is it until next week. Next week, we will see if we're going to do a show. I'm not 100% sure because I will be in Las Vegas, usually on day 2. It just depends on where I'm at on the show floor. Maybe we'll do a live show. Maybe we'll just set up a live show on the show floor because technically speaking, 10 o'clock. No, show will be out by then. Well, it's 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock. So it'd be 6 o'clock Vegas time when we would go live.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll do a stream. I don't know. It may be tough to do one.
Yeah.
We may. We'll see. We may do a live stream. a lot of times in Vegas, it's best I don't stream because, depending on what time of day, there's 2 of 3 things that could have already occurred. And it may just be not a good thing. The last time I was in Vegas and I decided to hop on a live stream, it was Fly Zone Drones had a stream, and I decided to jump on the stream. And this was after I decided that it'd be a good idea to pop a gummy. And this was like an hour after I popped the gummy.
I think I kind of remember that.
You remember that? I was.
You were falling over.
I was messed up. And because, me in my infinite wisdom thought to myself, well, that didn't do anything. Let me take another one. Well, I took another one, and next thing you know, it was like I had paralysis in my mouth because I was drooling. It was like, I remember looking at Lon. I said, how do I look on the outside? And he's like, you look fine. Why? What's the matter? I said, I feel like I'm drooling. He goes, no, you're not drooling. I said, but I feel like I'm drooling. And then we had to go to dinner, and we were at dinner with Skybrows. So Jeff Clemente and Skybrows were at this Thai place, and I am just I'm having an out-of-body experience. Picture this. I'm sitting in my chair right here. I'm sitting in my chair, but I'm not in my chair. I feel like I'm here. Like Ken is here, but I'm like here. I'm like here just looking at myself sitting in the chair as everybody's eating Thai food. And I'm just like, I felt like floating. I feel like I'm floating right now, and I haven't even had anything. I'm starting to get reverb feelings from all this.
Wow.
I'm telling you, dude, that was wild. I don't want to ever experience that again. So I vowed myself, I will be celibate against gummies moving forward.
Well, that is the danger of them, I hear, is that is a danger. They're doing nothing, so you have another.
Yeah, you just don't do it. Don't do it. I don't care what they say. You don't have any control of the release stage. Like I was hearing fucking NASA things in my hair. I was like, he's in stage 2. We have rocket separation. I mean, it was feeling like that. I was like to the moon. I got to tell you, I slept great. So that's always a good thing. Anytime you can sleep well and you have your wallet, your phone. Yeah. It's a good thing. Actually, no, I do remember one thing. We went to the Rio. You know what the Rio is, Tammy?
I do not.
Okay,
I've
so
never been to Vegas.
The Rio is the shittiest casino in Las Vegas. It's one of the oldest casinos right now. It's where Penn and Teller used to be. And anyways, once upon a time, the Rio was an amazing casino in Las Vegas. Now it's not so much. But they wanted to go to the Rio. And I had like $500 in my pocket upon entering the Rio. Now, mind you, I'm still on this gummy expedition. And I decided it would be a fantastic time to play craps. Not a good time to play craps. Yeah. Not a good time. You know how $500 lasts on a craps table when you don't know where you're at in the world? Not very long. Not very long. So that was an expensive mistake that we will not make ever again. But, that's the thing about life. You got to make mistakes to not make those mistakes again.
Right.
Yeah.
So no show next week, everybody.
No show next week. 2 weeks. Unless if something crazy changes or we put out a video or blah, 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 blah. I don't know. We'll figure something out. But anyways, thank you for everybody for stopping by this evening. And I will catch you next time. Stay original.
Bye.
I'll just get out my head and focus on what I know's coming. Cause I can't fall asleep at night without seeing my dreams. Delusionary reality, I'm somewhere in between. These voices in my head get loud and they keep telling me that I'm a fool for trusting in these wings. But maybe, baby, this what flying feels like.
So I think that went well. It went good.
Yeah.
Better than I expected. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad.
I think it was all right.
I think it went as good as it could go for the first time back in like 3 weeks. I mean,
It's been at least 3 weeks.
It's been
Yeah.
3 weeks. It's been 3 weeks.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, easy 3 weeks. I was looking at the stats. Stats for first time back, not bad. Not bad.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, 3 dislikes. 3 dislikes. I love how it shows me the fucking dislikes. I love to find them and punch them in the face. So we'll put a question mark. Maybe we'll make next week like a members only stream, because it'll be like the Vegas, the uncut. Like, I mean, it may be super, like, we may get demonetized even for an unlisted stream. Like, we could do something like that. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That could be pretty wild.
It could be. I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be the stream to end all streams, Stammy. It's gonna be a stream
next week. So next week is a stream. If you're a member.
If you're a member.